Have you ever wanted pro level mechanics, but you're not sure how, and you definitely don't have 8 hours a day to play like all of the top tier pros? Well, you're in luck, because I've just created a really easy to follow under 1 hour mechanics training routine that anybody watching can follow along with. It's going to improve your piece control, your crosshair placement, your edit timing. Anything related to mechanics is going to be improved with this one video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. This video took a long time for me to come up with this routine, and you can follow along with the code on screen. It's all done within one map. It's the best part, and it takes under an hour. Routine, of course, we're going to go ahead and hop into some free builds. We're not just doing regular old free builds. I want you guys to do 3 different types of speed training. The first one, turn down the speed on the map over here to either 50 or 60%, depending on how fast you want to go, and then go ahead and start free building, but focus on being crosshair efficient. So what I mean by this is every single edit, rather than just doing this, instead focus on being really precise of your movements with your crosshairs. You're not moving your mouse too fast at all. So let's say you're going to do a triple edit, you'll do something like this and focus on doing them as minimal mouse movements as possible, and focus on having control as you build, not just flicking around. You can also practice more complicated mechanics like high wall side jumps and all different things as you do this, and do this for 5 minutes straight. And it's one of the best ways of starting your warm-up, because you're not focused on speed, you're focused on going as smooth as possible. Just 5 minutes of relaxed free building, focusing on your crosshair placement. You should be feeling really good. You should be hitting every single edit as well as hitting every single build really, really easily. Then what I want you to do is something a little bit weird. Turn the speed back to normal, so back to 100%, but then hop into your settings and go down. If you're a controller, you can do this as well, but it's really good if you're a mouse and keyboard player like I am. Go ahead and turn your sensitivity down by half. So I play on 8.5 normally, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it down the whole way down to 4.3 right here. And this basically means that every single time I'm doing any type of edit or build, I need to move my arm and my mouse twice as fast. So any type of edit like this, I can't just swing like that. I have to be really efficient because I've got half sensitivity. So now as I go ahead and build and edit, as you can see, I have to be really, really quick in terms of moving my mouse on my mouse pad. And it's going to force me into making sure I've got the best crosshair placement possible, which is the biggest skill gap in fighting and improving your mechanics. This is also really good if you're someone that struggles with getting out of edits when you're close to the wall. Doing this type of speed training is really, really good for practicing that as well. 5 minutes of free building with a slower sensitivity. I want you to go ahead and turn your sensitivity back to normal. If you can't remember what your sense was, literally just double it and you'll get back to where you originally were. And then I want you to also make sure that you do the arrow keys and just manually tap into your sense exactly where it was when you first left off. Now your sense is going to feel really, really high when it comes to building and editing, which is actually a good thing because this means that you're actually able to move your mouse a lot quicker now after that speed training. Then the final thing I want you to do for free building is increase the speed. I would recommend starting off 110% and doing 5 minutes of that. You can also do 120% and build up over time as you do this routine and as you get better at this final part of speed training. So again, all you're doing is practicing the exact same moves, exact same build combos, exact same different things, doing 90s and stuff, but your character is now moving way faster, which forces you into doing edits quicker so you don't get stuck on edits, and also just improving your overall mechanics because you have to go faster. You're forced basically into increasing mechanical speed, which is one of the best benefits of doing this routine rather than just doing 15 minutes of normal free building. Now, after you're done with 15 minutes of free building, I want you to go ahead and hop into this edit section over on the left here. There's a load of really good edit courses and things you can do in here, which you can do. However, the main thing I want you guys to do is these edit towers, like this one right here, as well as these floor upward edit tiles and these wall upward edit tiles. The walls are basically close together. This is a really important mechanic to learn. It's basically practicing your edit timing and not misclicking. So what misclicking looks like is when you're editing and you're like doing this and it's going way too quick. Instead, you actually want to avoid that, and that can lead to, you know, shooting your gun and misclicking, and those misclicks are really bad, and that's going to get you killed in game. Instead, go nice and smooth, nice and steady, and then practice building up your speed over time, and run through each one of these scenarios at least twice on this map. It will take about 10 minutes to do all of this. So again, exact same thing on the walls. You're basically practicing doing wall edits while close to the wall, as well as doing the wall edits in succession. So your wall edit timing is absolutely flawless. You're not editing any doors and you're not editing any windows by accident. You're basically practicing doing this at a full speed. Now, the last part of edit training, you can use this little wall over here, but what I would actually recommend doing is heading into the comp section, then go ahead and click this edit training. And this is by far one of the best ways of working on your crosshair ability and actually just hitting every single edit possible. So what's going to happen is select all the edits that you normally do in a comp game. I would recommend keeping it really simple. You shouldn't do that edit. You shouldn't normally be doing that edit, in my opinion, as well as you shouldn't be doing a left-hand peek like that. Instead, just pick these 4 base edits that are really important to master. Then what's going to happen is you're going to move back and forth like this, and you've got to focus on hitting the edit that is selected. And again, use the diagram, use the little circle that's there to make sure you're hitting the edit every single time and not having over-wasted crosshair movement. Do this for 5 minutes straight and your edit's gonna be feeling absolutely flawless by the end of it. Now, of course, the next section where you guys to hop into is this piece control bit right here. Make sure you turn on this peak practice at the top and then go ahead and put the bot health at just below max right here. And this is gonna force you into not just, shooting the bot and killing them straight away with a body shot, focusing on always hitting a max damage shot, which is what you should be going for, and having good crosshair placement each time you edit. Then go ahead and you can do a playlist of certain ones that you like. However, I'd recommend just doing play all so you get a bit of variety as you go ahead and do this. And I'd recommend doing this again for around 15 minutes. The key thing whenever you're doing this is when you've got the peak practice on, if you stand too close to the bot and do a bad edit like this, the bot is going to hit you each time. So instead, focus on piece control on the bot and then going ahead and doing a good peak, not a peak like that where I'm way too exposed. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and take my time and do a max each time I go ahead and shoot. So again, depending on the scenario, always just look where the bot is, then go ahead and, do the wall replace or whatever. Go for the center piece control. Don't just, hope they're not going to place a cone since it's a bot. Always go for a bit of center piece control and then focus when you do the edit that you're behind the peak and that you're doing a max damage shot each time and aiming for the head each time. Now, after you've done about 10 minutes of this peak training, you should be feeling really good. However, if you still want to get a little bit more practice, I'd recommend hopping into this comp section, and there's a whole another area where you can do peak training. This is really good, especially if you're practicing wall replaces as well. I'd recommend turning the difficulty for medium and then leaving the health on what it is. You can turn up to hard after time, but for the majority of you, I'd recommend doing medium. And then here, basically just practice doing good edits and smart edit selection versus, a bot that's moving around that's a bit more active. So it's actually really good practice to do, and basically just practice, doing good edits so you're not getting hit every single time. It's also very good if you struggle with box fighting and wall-to-wall mechanics. It's also very good practice for that, so you're not doing bad peaks like this and you're going to get hit as soon as you do that. Instead, what you can go ahead and do is practice doing smarter peaks that are going to give you the advantage in the fight, and always setting yourself up in a good right hand peak as well. Now at this point you can wrap up the routine. You've done like 45 minutes of mechanics training. However, there's 2 extra bonus scenarios that I'd recommend you guys go ahead and play if you're seriously wanting to improve. The first one being this pre-fire practice right here. Basically what happens is the bot is going to be in a wall-to-wall situation with you, and you got to practice hitting a pre-fire and not missing it like I did just right there. So again, the bot's going to be below here. You got to practice hitting a 100 damage shot without letting the bot hit you each time, and this is actually really good practice as well. And also, don't just stand there and wait for the bot to spray. Practice if it's a real game scenario. Maybe hold the wall once or twice and then go ahead and pre-fire the second time and practice the timing of it so you're not getting hit in return. You can also do little things like practicing doing better peaks. Like here, the bot's in my stair. So again, try to get as good as this so the bot isn't able to hit you each time you do it, and you don't take any damage each time. Now, the final scenario I'd really recommend you guys do on this map is this phasing practice. There's a lot of different variations and scenarios that you can do. You can do it just on a flat, on a cone, below a ramp like this, and basically just put it to medium, put the bot health to whatever, and then you want to practice doing the phasing trick through a wall. If you've ever seen a controller player or maybe a high ping player or something do this, basically everyone can do this if your timing is good enough. There's a 0.15 second delay on somebody holding a wall in game just because of how turbo wood works. So basically what you're trying to do is practice the exact timing when you break the wall that you're going to be able to walk straight through it. Just like that. If you do it wrong, it's basically going to look like you smack the wall when you're too far away, and then it's just going to reset you each time. You can also practice this going from above. So, here you want to practice the jump in timing like that. Pretty easy to do. And you can also practice it doing a ramp jump in just like this. Just like that, get in box and get a refresh. And this is one of the most useful mechanics that you can practice. All right, so that's basically your entire hour of mechanics training. If you want to do a little bit more, I'd either recommend doing some aim training, which I might have a full video coming out on, or you can go ahead and do this piece free build right here. Pretty simply, there's loads of walls and things that you've got to break and get through as you go forward, and you're basically trying to piece up and kill this opponent over there without taking any damage, which is actually really good to do. If you want to go ahead and do this at the start of your warm-up or at the end, it's both are really fantastic to do, and then go ahead and get into a regular day of playing, whether it's 1v1s, whether it's doing realistics, whether it's doing reload, lots of different things you can do to improve the moment, but this is, in my opinion, the best 1 hour mechanics routine. If you guys are serious about improving your mechanics and you want to become a better fighter, then definitely go check out the Fighting Masterclass. There's literally a full section on how to actually train your mechanics correctly from myself, Zycoma, as well as loads of other coaches inside, and a bunch of pro players who give their full routines that they use to go pro inside this section. Genuinely really useful if you want to get more routines and you want to go ahead and improve as fast as possible. Check out the Fighting Masterclass.